Hello everyone and welcome to Myth and Magic. We are continuing in our Celtic pantheon and discussing the goddess Bry-eed. One name I thought I was getting correct is actually pronounced Bry-eed. I will be saying Bry-eed throughout the video, but know that it is, according to a viewer who has kindly informed me, that it is pronounced Bry-eed. And when I say Bown, it is Boyn. I learned this in Ireland, and that one I was afraid I had gotten incorrect. So know that when I say Bry-eed, I mean Bry-eed, and when I say Bown, I mean Boyn. Unlike our previous Celtic god, the Dagda, she does not have the placed in front of her name. Now, first things first, who is Bry-eed, and what is she the goddess over? So she's a prominent figure in Celtic mythology and is known as the goddess of fire, light, fertility, healing, and poetry. She is a member of the Tuatha De Danann, which we learned last time is a mystical race of gods and goddesses in Irish mythology. She is the daughter of the Dagda, the great god of the Tuatha De Danann, and a goddess of the same name. According to legend, her conception involved a series of miraculous events that emphasize her divine nature. In one version of the story, Bry-eed was conceived during a moment of cosmic alignment where the forces of light and fire converged to create her existence. Regardless, Bry-eed's birth is characterized by miraculous events that resonate with the themes of transformation and rebirth. Legend tells that as she entered the world, a radiant light illuminated and enveloped her and drew this amazing light throughout her surroundings, signaling her arrival and the arrival of a new era. The significance of fire and light during her birth underscores the profound connection between her and the cycles of nature. Bry-eed's importance in Celtic culture is underscored by her role in various festivals and rituals that celebrate the changing cycles and the seasons, and she is also associated with the hearth, symbolizing warmth and comfort, as well as the forge, representing creativity and transformation. And again, the Celts have this way of taking our modern stereotypes of what gender should be over what, and kind of just turning that on its head. You would think of a god of the forge being male, and I'll admit that when I was creating my own pantheon for the book I am currently writing, I defaulted and made my god a male. And now that I see this, I'm questioning, do I want to keep him a man, or should I change the gender? Right now, I'm at a point in the story where it won't matter if I do change it. I do have to go back and change some pronouns, but that's not a big deal. He's not mentioned often enough for that to be a whole lot of work. But we'll see. I have other worlds and other places in which I can do what the Celts did and have this god of the hearth and forge, well, hearth is often actually female, of the forge be a woman. Or non-binary. There's also that option too. Now, Bry-eed is often depicted in resonance with this kind of theme of fire and radiance. She's majestic and embodies the attributes of light and fire and transformation. And so with her hair, it's commonly portrayed long and flowing, resembling fire, also taking on the qualities but also the color. So her hair's fiery hues range from gold to deep red and symbolizes her connection to the fire and the sun. As for her eyes, they are said to be luminous, often described as a brilliant blue or green with penetrating penetrating wisdom that reflects her role as a goddess of wisdom and inspiration. As for her clothing, it is often depicted as a cloak or robe that shimmers with light, and this garment is adorned with symbols of the sun and fire and natural elements, emphasizing again her ties to the natural world and her role as a protector of the hearth and home. Now, of course, Bry-eed's personality is very much tied into what she is the goddess of. So first things first, she is compassionate and nurturing. She's known for her deep sense of care and empathy, and of course is the protector of the vulnerable and healer of the sick, always offering comfort and solace. As the goddess of poetry and wisdom, Bry-eed inspires creativity and intellectual pursuits. She is a muse of poets, artists, and scholars, encouraging them to explore and express their talents, and of course is also of that kind of thought herself, because she's the goddess of creativity and inspiration. She's also strong and determined. Bry-eed's connection to smithcraft and the forge symbolizes her strength and resilience. She embodies the power of transformation and the ability to overcome challenges with determination and skill. As we kind of mentioned previously, she is warm and radiant. Her association with fire and light reflects her radiant personality, and she brings warmth and illumination, both literally and metaphorically, to those around her. So we're kind of seeing how she is this very inviting personality to both those whom she actually associates with and those of whom she is a god over. Bry-eed also possesses deep wisdom and insight, guiding others with her knowledge and understanding. Her counsel is sought after by those in need of guidance and inspiration, both of the mortal realm and immortal. And of course, she is protective and just. She is a guardian of the hearth and home, ensuring the safety and well-being of her followers. She's also associated with justice and fairness, advocating for what is right and just. Now, her powers and abilities kind of even dive deeper into what she is reigning over, so to speak. She has her primary power is her dominion over fire and light, and she can control and manipulate both. And this gives her the power to not only bring warmth and illumination through her presence, but also through actual summoning of her power. And this power, of course, symbolizes transformation, creativity, and purification. Bry-eed is also renowned for her healing powers. She is associated with wells and springs, and believed to have curated properties of healing. Her touch can mend wounds, cure illnesses, and restore vitality. She offers solace and recovery to those in need, making her a revered figure in times of illness. Fertility and agriculture. So Bry-eed oversees the cycles of growth and harvest, ensuring the fertility of the land and the well-being of livestock. She is revered for her nurturing influence on both crops and animals. She has the ability to promote growth, fertility, and abundance, making her a vital figure in agricultural societies. And as we have mentioned a couple of times now, Bry-eed inspires poets and artists and scholars with her gift of creativity. She is the muse for those seeking to express themselves through the arts, fostering innovative and imaginative endeavors, as well as creativity and intellectual pursuits. Bry-eed is also the patroness of smiths and craftsmen. She possesses the skill to work with metals, creating powerful and beautiful objects. This attribute symbolizes her ability to transform raw materials into something valuable and meaningful. She symbolizes the transformative power of the forge, representing skill and innovation. And oftentimes, I think, not just in the physical ability to create, but also we talk a lot about the transformative nature which she represents, and that can also be in who we are as people, in our ability to transform and become better, or sometimes transform and become not better. However, as Bry-eed is also a protector and is an advocate for justice, she offers her protection to others, specifically to her followers, safeguarding homes and communities. And she is associated with fairness, advocating for what is right and just. However, Bry-eed also offers her protection to her followers, potentially from the negative transformation of others, and she safeguards homes and communities. We have talked about how she is associated with justice and fairness, and is the advocate for what is right. And her protective nature extends to both the physical and the spiritual realm, so she's taking care of everybody. Bry-eed is endowed with prophetic abilities and deep wisdom. She can foresee events and provide guidance to those seeking her counsel, and her insights are highly valued both among the mortal realm and also her own peers, and her wisdom is sought after by many. So as we can see, Bry-eed's powers are diverse and make her a revered and multifaceted deity, embodying qualities that resonate deeply with the human experience, and her influence spans across various aspects of life, making her an essential figure in Celtic mythology. But of course, we cannot move on without talking about her symbols. She has a flame and torch representing her connection to fire and light and transformation. She has her sacred wells and springs, which symbolize her healing powers, and she's also of course associated with water. And also the sun, reflecting her radiant and life-giving presence. She has a forge and smith's hammer, indicating her patronage of smith crafting and metalworking. There's also sheep and cows that represent her role in fertility and agriculture. She also has what is called Bry-eed's cross, which is a woven cross made of rushes, symbolizing protection and the cycles of nature. And of course, there's the oak tree, which is a symbol of her strength and endurance. So how was Bry-eed worshipped? Well, pre-Christian, she was worshipped at sacred wells, springs, of course, these things that she was associated with, and she had shrines throughout Ireland and other Celtic regions. These sites were believed to have healing properties, and pilgrims would visit to seek her blessing and cures. Her followers and devotees also would make offerings of milk, butter, and other dairy products to honor her as a goddess of fertility and abundance. They also left votive objects such as small figurines and tools at her shrines. There is her festival. So Bry-eed, on the 1st of February, would have a festival called Imbolc, and this was to mark the beginning of spring, and it was a time to honor Bry-eed, her connection to fertility, light, and renewal. And then, of course, Christianity came, and Bry-eed kind of went through this transformation. With the advent of Christianity in Ireland, Bry-eed's worship was assimilated into the Christian tradition, and she was actually transformed into Saint Brigid of Kildare and became a beloved figure in Irish Christianity. She is credited with the founding of the monastery at Kildare, which is one of the most important religious centers in Ireland, and this site became a focal point for her cult, attracting pilgrims and devotees. Then there's Feast Day, which is kind of the replacement or the Christian version of the Imbolc festival, which happens on the 1st of February. And this day is marked by various religious and cultural practices honoring her legacy as both a goddess and a saint. In recent years, there has been a revival of interest in Bry-eed as a figure of Celtic spirituality. And so modern pagans and neo-pagans celebrate celebrate her as a goddess of fire, healing, and creativity. So first, we have her as a Christian saint. Bry-eed's legacy endures in Ireland and beyond. Many churches, schools, and organizations are named after her, and her feast day on February 1st remains an important celebration. Devotees visit places associated with Saint Brigid, such as the Cathedral of Saint Brigid in Kildare, and to seek her blessing and offer prayers. And her cross has survived. The tradition of crafting Saint Brigid's cross from reeds or rushes continues, especially on her feast day. These crosses are hung in homes to invoke her protection and blessing. In neo-pagan and Celtic spirituality, the modern followers of Bry-eed will celebrate Imbolc on February 1st, marking the return of light and the beginning of spring. Rituals often include lighting candles, making offerings, and honoring Bry-eed's multifaceted roles. Devotees still visit her sacred wells and springs associated with her, leaving offerings and performing rituals to seek healing and blessings. And then, of course, there's the creative arts. Bry-eed's influence as a muse continues to inspire artists, poets, and writers. Modern rituals may include creative expressions such as poetry, readings, music, and art dedicated to her. There's, of course, online communities. There's virtual worship where many people connect with Bry-eed through communities and forums dedicated to Celtic spirituality. These platforms offer a space for sharing rituals, stories, and personal experiences related to Bry-eed. And of course, in social media, Bry-eed's presence extends where followers share posts, images, and content celebrating her influence and significance. And then we have mentioned that people will still celebrate Imbolc, and some communities organize public events and festivals to honor Bry-eed, blending traditional practices with modern interpretation. And these events often include performances, workshops, and ceremonies that celebrate her legacy. Art, you can find Bry-eed in traditional illuminated manuscripts. She's often featured in these with intricate designs and vibrant colors that highlight her divine nature, and these manuscripts may include scenes from her life and symbols associated with her. And then there's also stone carvings. Ancient stone carvings and monuments depict Bry-eed with her symbols, such as the flame, cross, and animals. These carvings can be found at sacred sites and historical locations. In modern art, you have paintings and illustrations. They have contemporary artists have reimagined Bry-eed in various styles, from realistic to abstract, and these artworks often emphasize her radiant presence and connection to fire and light, because that is a stunning visual, so why wouldn't you? Bry-eed has often been immortalized in sculptures, both small and large, and these sculptures may depict her in a protective or healing stance, holding symbols like flame or the flame or the cross. And as a patron of smithcraft, Bry-eed is honored through metalwork, including jewelry, tools, and decorative items. And these pieces often feature the Celtic knot and other symbolic designs. And then, of course, you have digital art, which is how I do my artwork. As you have seen throughout the series, I do my best to take what I research and create an art piece for these entities, these gods. And that is a pretty common one. And also, there seems to be 3D renders of sculpting her in Bry-eed's art of Bry-eed. I can word. Now, in pop culture, we have Bry-eed coming up in numerous fantasy novels and series, often as a powerful and wise character, of course. And authors draw inspiration from her mythology and mythological attributes to create compelling stories and their own characters. Bry-eed's character and symbols have also been featured in television and film, mostly in shows that will explore Celtic mythology and folklore, and her presence adds depth and authenticity to narratives centered around ancient traditions and supernatural elements. Musicians and bands have also referenced Bry-eed in their lyrics and album themes, celebrating her as a muse of creativity and inspiration. Her association with poetry and the arts make her a fitting figure for musical tributes. Bry-eed has also made an appearance in video games that explore mythological themes and characters. Her attributes as a goddess of fire, healing, and creativity make her a versatile and intriguing character in gaming narratives. And that's kind of where we're at. The character of Bry-eed is pretty fascinating. I mentioned before how Bry-eed, like the Dagda, kind of, I don't know, resets gender norms, and it's really fascinating to go back and see how, yes, she has these very feminine qualities, at least what is associated with femininity, but she also has this domain over what is traditionally thought of as a masculine characteristic, interest, and I don't know, it's cool. I enjoy it. I think the Celtic gods are fascinating and show that the stereotypes that exist today didn't exist for them. There wasn't this black and white, girls like pink, boys like blue thing. And it's really cool. And I appreciate it as someone who has a kind of feminine but masculine sort of personality. So it's really neat for me. Anyway, I hope you're enjoying this series. I hope you are having fun learning about the Celtic gods. I really love them. I think they're super cool. And I hope you all have a pleasant and wonderful rest of your day. Please be kind and, go out there and create, explore, and do all those things. Don't be afraid to try to do the things that you love. All right. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.